What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week. I got to find a new intro because it's the same thing every week. But hey, welcome back to Where's the Call Sheet, episode whatever. We're here with the one, the only, Petey Mcgee. He flew all the way in from New Jersey just to be on this podcast.
Just to be here.
We didn't even have to pay him. Like, you know, his agent was like, hey, man, it's going to be 10 mil. And I was like, but I know Petey. And then the agent was like, oh, he'll come for free.
Oh,
like,
you're good then.
We'll even pay for the flight. Like, it'll be fine. But no, man, I appreciate you coming out. I know that you're in town for other stuff, but I appreciate you making time, you know, in your schedule to come be with us.
Of course, man.
Yeah. What are you? Because you're from here, right?
Yes.
So what did you come back for?
I came back. My son is doing a play. It is called One Day a Year. It's a Coterie Theater, which is like one of the biggest children's theater in the U.S. He's doing a play there, and it's actually, I don't know if you know, so the play is called One Day a Year, and it's based on a theme park called Fairyland, I want to say is what it's called. It used to be a theme park back in the day. It used to be open. And
Here
the thing
or somewhere
was,
else?
in Kansas City.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing was that black people could only go there one day a year.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That's why the play is called One Day a Year.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it used to be like in Kansas City, and like black people had one day a year that they could go to this theme park.
Like it was the same day, like March 17th. That's my turtle. He's
I was like, what is going on?
yeah, he doesn't like Fairyland or whatever you
Yeah.
just called it. Like, so he just decided to jump on. But that's what year was that? Like,
Oh man.
that had to have been like
Oh yeah, like
long
for sure a
ago.
long time ago.
I mean, I know that things aren't obviously amazing right now by any means, but we're definitely better than one
Yeah,
day a
the
week.
black people
or
get one day a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like this one day that like all the black people in the city, this is y'all day to go to the theme park. And it's once a year. I was like, yo, that I knew nothing about. First of all, I didn't know that Kansas City had a theme park that was like in the city.
Yeah, outside of Worlds of Fun.
Yeah.
I never would have thought anything was here.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. So I'm gonna go check that out, see what that's about.
That's like mind blowing that like this is my favorite, not my favorite, but that's a horrible way to phrase that. But like the funniest thing to me with racism is that at some point someone said that out loud and thought it was okay. And like a room of people were like, hey, let's give him one day a year. And not a single person
And a
was
bunch of
like,
people agreed. They was
yeah,
like,
like,
you know
oh,
what? Yeah.
should we only do 6 hours? Like, is the one, like, it's wild to me that like the human existence did that at any point in time. But no, that's great. You know, that you're back in town to see your sons
Yes.
play and whatnot. Is it a one night only thing or is it?
No. It runs a couple months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, we'll put a link to tickets or something.
Oh, yeah, for
just
sure.
so people who are interested in that. I mean, I didn't know about that. So if anyone's interested in, you know, that story,
Learning something, and
yeah.
you know, it's all ages, so like kids can come. Yeah, everybody. They have you know, the Coterie does a lot of things where they partner with schools, so they have a bunch of school groups coming in and seeing the play and stuff too. So,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Me and Brittany will definitely have to check that out at some point because I mean, I didn't know the theme park existed. I didn't know the play existed. I didn't know that theater existed. So, well, I'm also not necessarily in tune with like the theater market of Kansas City.
Yeah, I know it's crazy how it's so divided in Kansas
Yeah.
City. Well, not just in Kansas City. I feel like a lot of markets are like that, where it's like two completely different things.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I don't know how it is from like an acting standpoint, but like here, there's people that do like events and live productions and stuff like that, like cam ops, regular, whatever. And then there's people that do, you know, like the film side of it, and like they hate each other. Like they don't cross over. Like I don't see people going, "Hey, you lit that corporate event. You want to come light this movie?" It's like, oh, you're like a
Oh wow, that's
yeah,
crazy.
you're
I
in a
didn't know
completely
that.
different, you know, thing. Like, I mean, really though, like we're in the Kansas City production page. I'm not sure if you're in that or not, but you know, hey, I'm looking for this, and there's people that get tagged and like, nah, it's not my thing, and I'm like, money's money, man. Like, go get paid. It's the same concept at the end of the day.
Wow, I did not know that.
Is acting like that? Like,
I
because
know
you have a
so it's
theater
not-
background, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I started in theater. I thought I was gonna do theater forever until I started working on the show, and I saw the difference in pay. And I was like, yeah, I'm a mosey over here.
Yeah.
Nah, but the actors, I feel like actors don't like. There's no like beef between the actors, but there's definitely a difference. There are some actors who just kind of do theater, and that's just kind of their thing, and they never really want it. Some actors don't want to step into TV and film, or some can't, or just haven't not can't, but just haven't had success.
Right.
Trying to do TV and film, and you know, I love theater more than I love TV and film because I love the feeling of, you know, the live performance. I love being able to affect my audience in real time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't think there's not like a beef necessarily, which is very interesting.
Us like behind the camera people are weird, man.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy now, like, because even, you know, trying to create films, right? Being up in New Jersey, New York, I know a lot of theater makers, and I know some like super talented designers on the theater side. Like they've done Broadway productions. They've worked with everybody, toured all over, you know, but they did like lights, sound, you know, all these like designers and ops and stuff. And like, that's what, I'm talking to Kevin, the director we're working with now. He like, yeah, that's cool. I know y'all got all these like, you know, connections and stuff, but like, how does that translate to film?
Yeah.
He's like, cause I don't want, like, if somebody's a lighting designer, nice, very, very cool. But is it going to be the same once I put a camera up?
Well, right, because, I mean, the mediums are completely different, because in theater, and obviously you have more theater experience, so correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, you're not necessarily lighting for, like, mood and that. Like, you're more lighting to illuminate, hey, we need to see everything, and then you add a little bit of texture and character to it.
Right.
But for the most part, it's, like, you got to be able to see it, whereas film, it's kind of like you have a little bit more creative control in that aspect where you can tell more of the story through the lighting and the movement and whatnot. Where theater, I mean, you're like, you know, the box is here, like you got to be in within these constraints and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't 100% translate, but like, you know, again, it's the same basic concepts.
Yeah,
like
that sounds like, I feel like they went to school for it. They studied lighting. They know how lights work.
Yeah, and the majority of lighting is like, okay, how do I manipulate this light? I know what this light does. I know all the fancy terms like lumens and watts and voltage, and I made all three of those up. I have no idea what any of that is, but you can adapt that and be like, okay, we want a softer light. Okay, so how do I do that? Okay, X, Y, and Z, because I know my craft, I know my thing. So I feel like it translates, but maybe people just don't think that they can switch. You know, maybe there's just like not that definitive, like, hey, you can do both.
Right.
Because how often do you bounce back and forth between theater and then not theater?
Rarely ever now. When I first started, I was doing mostly theater, because I had no intention on going into film and TV, and now I was teaching earlier at Allen Village, teaching high school, and that was one of the questions that the kids asked me, kind of the same thing, and I was like, well, it's different now because like it's a money thing as well, you know. So I would love to do theater. I like theater, like I said, more than TV and film, but theater, you know, I'll do a play and they might be offering me, like, especially in this market in Kansas City, they might offer me like $300 a week to do a play.
A
week? $300, $400 a week.
Oh my gosh.
To do a play here. You know, I had one that I got offered, and I think it was like around $300 or $400, and my manager like texted me, and she was like, yeah, that's laughable.
I mean, that's laughable. I know nothing about it like that. I mean, you're probably got 4 or 5 shows a week.
Yeah.
And that's like $75 a show, if you're lucky. Which, I mean, it just goes into the, like, no one cares about the arts anymore, or no one monetarily cares about the arts anymore. Like, everyone wants to watch stuff, everyone wants to go to shows, but like they don't want to pay for it because society just decided that, hey, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah,
it's crazy how money works though, right? Because like theater actors get paid a lot less, because even on Broadway, like a starting contract is like $900 and something for like the Lord D, whatever it is, I'm messing that up.
Fancy words that someone can Google and figure out.
Yeah. So like it's starting off at like $900 and something a week.
Okay.
And that's starting. And of course, like depending on your role, depending on your status, all that, it goes up from there. But that's where it starts.
Right. Hugh Jackman's not getting paid $900
exactly
to go out there.
Exactly. He's on Broadway probably making a lot more, $10,000 a week. Or
he's laughing at listening
at $900. He's like, yeah, exactly. But like then you got TV, right? If you are a series regular on a TV show, you are making probably minimum of like $20,000 to $25,000 an episode. So that's a big difference, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And you think about it though, it's like, yo, you go see a theater play, they charging like $50 for tickets. Yeah, I was gonna come down here to see Christmas Carol at the Rep. The tickets was like $80.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, I'm probably have to miss that. My son was in that too. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna probably have to miss that one. I ain't gonna make it down there.
You missed out on your son. Oh, that's right, because you had to fly in. So like, okay, I get that. And that's a plane ticket too. It's not just an $80.
And he played Tiny Tim. His role was small anyway. He was like, I ain't tripping. He's like, make sure you come see my next play.
Just hit one of them, Dad. Like, come on.
But yeah, like it was like $80 for a ticket, right? And I'm like, I mean, the Rep does pay more than the other theaters here in Kansas City.
Right.
A lot of the other theaters. But still, it's like they charging all that money for them tickets and stuff. And it's like you make a movie, and like, I mean, I guess. It's way different now, right? Because you can go to a movie theater, and now everything is streaming. They get all their money, I guess, from streaming and from
well, it's all advertisements. Like that's the big thing. Like
yeah.
you don't go to a Broadway show and see a bunch of like Doritos banners hanging everywhere. Like and that's what a movie is nowadays. I mean, if it's on TV, like an episodic thing, you got commercials, which obviously is a shit ton of money. But then movies, you got product placement out the ass now. Like hey, we got this car chase scene, but he's got to be in an Audi, because Audi paid us $2 million
just
for
to
this
have their car in
to have their car blow up, or have their car
seconds.
not blow up and the Dodge does blow up, or some stupid crap like that.
Yeah.
So it's wild how that works, because I personally, if I had to choose, like, you know, neutral playing field, I would probably rather go see a theater performance, because you're in it. You know, you're in the theater, like, there's no distraction, your phone's off, you just got the story, and it's like the connection there.
Yeah.
When I watch something on streaming, you got so many different distractions in the world that, like, I'm missing half of it, and then I'm looking over at Brittany and I'm like, wait, what just happened?
Yep.
And so, like, you feel out of it, you don't feel as connected to it. And even when you go to a theater, like, I'm not on my phone necessarily in a theater, but there's just so many things, like, this guy's sneezing, that, you know, this one's going to the bathroom, and I don't necessarily get that connection that I do with the theater, because we went to New York, it was a couple years ago now, but we saw a couple plays on Broadway, and they were fantastic, and I've gone to other productions, other, you know, states and whatnot too, but, like, there's just nothing like it. And it's just being in the moment.
The culture in London, I feel like, is very I feel like when I was there, it was a lot more like theater focused versus, like, you know, you're in America and it's all about the movie stars and about the movies. When I went over there, I felt like the actors, the stage actors, were the celebrities to me. And, like, going and seeing live plays, because we saw a lot of live theater in London, and, like, it's cooler over there to be a theater actor, you know. And I went there and was like, this is what, like, if I could go anywhere and be an actor and, like, live there as an actor, it'd be London for sure.
How long you were in London for a while though, weren't you?
Yeah, for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, again, it just goes back to the cultural stuff that, like, America's so new. We've only been here for about 200 some years that, like, all we really know is, well, that's wrong, because TV and movies hasn't been around for that long, but, like, in Europe and Asia and all those other places, that, like, that they were doing that since the beginning of time. And I'm sure that in America, like, you know, like, the native people and all them have been doing stuff like that, but, you know, again, culturally, we just, like, wiped that off the face of the planet. No, we're gonna watch Brad Pitt in this movie. We don't care about, you know, the stuff you've been doing since the beginning of time. So I mean, it all comes. I mean, I'm beating a dead horse and all this, but it comes down to capitalism at the end of the day. So it's just kind of wild how, you know,
this is America.
Yeah,
this is America.
Really though, and it's kind of sad, because there's so many art forms that I just feel like die off because of all of that. Like, even outside of, you know, theater and movies and stuff. Like, when's the last time you saw someone make a really cool painting that people cared about?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, or a sculpture, or, like, I know pottery was a big thing a while ago, and, like, now.
I do think that when it's all said and done, when we're living in that post-apocalyptic world that we see in all these movies and stuff, theater will make its big comeback.
Oh yeah,
because they don't have a choice, you know. But I think I was just talking to the kids about this earlier too. The kids that I was teaching, and I was like, you know, I love this art form because I feel like it'll always stand the test of time. Like, theater has been going since as long as we can remember. Even, you know, way back in the beginning of time, where they can remember the first people, right, in Africa and stuff. Like, they had the shamans who were doing performances, and, like, I'm like, so theater versions of it have been happening since forever. And I feel like theater will live on forever. Artists, you know, art in general, but, like, theater will live on way after we're not able to do movies. We have no TVs. We have no, you know, hopefully the world never gets there.
Yeah,
but.
Well, at least not in my lifetime. You know what I mean? But, like, theater was almost the first, like, communication and first language. Like, if you really trace it back to, like, hieroglyphs and stuff like that, when language is being formed, like, people were acting stuff out, and then other people were writing it down so that generations in the future knew what was going on. So, like, it predates language almost in a way, because I'm sure, like, with the cavemen, and just depending on, like, your religious and evolutionary beliefs and whatnot,
Neanderthals, actually.
Neanderthals, there you go.
That's what they prefer.
See, my history just
I know a couple.
You know,
they don't like cavemen.
Well, I did one of those 23andMe's, and that was, like, one of the things that I am. Like, because, like...
You're part Neanderthal?
That and, like, Ashkenazi Jew, which are, like, the two most broad spectrums of people that you could be in the world. An Ashkenazi Jew... I totally butchered that word, but in whatever century around the Mediterranean Sea, there was this tribe of Jewish people that just basically got moved constantly. Like we're either going to kill you or you're going to leave. So they just left. And they moved so much, and they procreated with so many different people that there's no way to trace any of it. So they just, like, here you go. You guys just get this designation. That's the same thing as Neanderthals is, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That it's kind of like, we just can't physically trace it back here. So I'm like this.
So you came from the beginning of all the people.
I mean, really, though. And it's just like this giant Mediterranean pool that, like, you know, here's me. I'm sitting here. I thought I was, like, full Italian, all this kind of stuff. I do the test, and it's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, oh,
they're like, you're the whitest dude that ever existed. We're just going to give you Neanderthals and and juice.
Yeah, here you go. Have at it. Good on you, and then just do whatever you want to do. But I think I came from Italy.
Yeah.
Still the white, blanket space.
They're a different type of white, though. That's a different type of white.
You're right, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But who knows?
Yeah, man.
Who knows? But yeah, so, like, what got you into acting?
What got me into acting? I accidentally kind of stumbled on acting.
I love it when people say they accidentally stumbled into something. It makes me happy.
Yeah. I had no intention on being an actor. I was a rapper. I did music for a long time. And I was on tour. I was doing a bunch of ghostwriting for a lot of big artists. And that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a big rapper. I wanted to tour forever. I wanted to make money. I wanted to, do all of that. And then my mom had passed when it was my second album release, but it was like my first like big album that I had coming out. And like 2 days before my album released, I had this huge in-store signing when Seventh Heaven used to be a thing. It's still open, right? When it used to be when more people used to go there. I had this big album release signing happening there, and my mom died 2 days before.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I still went to the album signing, and I mean, it was a really cool event. I had never seen so many people at Seventh Heaven because I used to work there way back in the day before I was even rapping. I got this my nasal.
It's that Midwest air, man.
Yeah, man. But yeah, my mom passed, and I kind of after I did that that in-store signing, I kind of went into I just went into myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do anything for like a year, man. I was like just not doing anything, not talking to anybody. I hated everything. I hated the world. And then eventually I was like, yo, my mom's want me to do something with myself and like not wallow in my own self-pity.
Yeah.
And I was like, what would she want me to do? I'm like, I'm going to go to school. My mom, she always loved bragging on me, so I'm going to give her something to brag about. I'm going to go get me a college degree. I go to UMKC, bro, and I go to the admissions office, and I'm like flipping through the admissions book looking for a major because I just wanted the degree.
Yeah, I need the paper.
I just need the paper, so I'm like flipping through it, and I like flip back and back to the beginning where the A's are, and I'm like actor, and I'm like, that seems easy. I'm like, I feel like I could just chill and they would give me a degree.
Yeah,
like,
what classes would I possibly have to take for that?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I did with the film degree, so I get it.
Yeah. So I was like, it's going to be easy. Piece of cake. I'm like, my brother's an actor. My brother who does a lot of stuff, who was always my idol growing up, he's an actor. And then a lot of my family, extended family, they had done acting and stuff. So I was like, this should be a piece of cake. And I enrolled for acting. And I got to UMKC with every intention on I'm going to be in the background of every class. I'm not going to say much. I was still doing music too. So I was like, matter of fact, I'm going to use this to sell my CDs on campus. So like, that's what I'm here for. And then I had a professor who was like, nah, it's like, we doing these plays. Your major is acting. He's like, you're a theater major with an emphasis in acting. You chose that for a reason. So you got to audition for these plays. He like convinced me to audition for plays. I auditioned for this play called Drums in the Night by Bertolt Brecht.
Okay.
Old German dude. Who has this style of theater called alienation, sorry, whatever it is.
Something with aliens.
Yeah, it's something with, it's been a while. It's when I first started acting, which just seems, actually it hasn't been that long compared to a lot of other actors I know. But yeah, so I started studying Brecht, and I got into his style of theater, and I was like, wow, it like blew my mind. This old German dude who I was like, I would never have any kind of connection to anything some old German dude did. Like, from old German dude from way back in the day. And I fell in love, man, did that play. And it was the play that we did. We also kind of mixed it with, there was a cabaret part with there's a play from Chuck Mee, from Charles Mee, called Big Love. And we had this monologue in there that I did. It's a long monologue. It's like 3 minutes long.
Oh shit.
Which is a long time for any one person to be talking, just that person.
Yeah.
And I did this monologue every performance, and it was the last performance, man. I was stressed out that day. I was going through a bunch of stuff at home, and I went to the theater and I did this monologue like I do every night. But this time it was just different. It was the first time I felt like I understood what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, I had just kind of been saying words because I memorized them. I was like, yeah, I memorized these words. I'm just going to recite them on stage.
Yeah, that's what acting is.
That's
right?
what acting is.
You read the script and you regurgitate.
And it was the first time I had, as I was saying them, was understanding the words that I was saying. And it kind of scared me. And I'm like going through it. And by the time I'm done with this monologue, I'm bawling on stage, just crying.
Yeah.
I got off stage, man, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that for the rest of my life.
Hell yeah.
I want to have that feeling all the time. And more than that, I want to get that feeling to other people, you know? Like, that's the reason I act, to give people that feeling, to try to capture that feeling again, you know? I have yet to, but...
Hey, don't say that,
but
man.
I'm always
like,
working towards it.
Yeah, well, first off, not to be cheesy, but like, you like I'm serious, those are chills. They like just hearing people talk about how passionate about this, like what they do in their craft, like, I love that shit. Like, that's so fucking cool, man. Especially because, like, you took a very tragic moment and you turned it into something so beautiful. And I see the opposite so many times, whether it's personal friends and stuff and just random people or whatever. Like, you know, there's a path that you can choose. And the fact that you turned yours into something so beautiful and, like, that has blossomed. And, you know, we've done stuff together and I've seen a lot of your work. Like, you've turned into this amazing thing, man. And, like, that's just so dope. Like, I know I haven't known you for that long, but, like, you know, I'm very impressed with all the things that you have done, and that's before even knowing any of your, like, you know, backstory of how you got into it or anything like that. I also kind of stumbled into film. You know, when I met you, not too long after I met you, I had just started doing film. You know, the pandemic, of course, made everybody refocus on what they was doing. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, I don't remember exactly how we met. I know that we met at that. It was like a wing shop or something like that downtown. But I remember Corey and Khalid had told me that Sully wanted to do the music video or whatever. And then I had no idea who you were or who Sully was. And I was like, Petey, why does that name sound familiar? And Corey goes, he was the good one in You Shoot Videos. Not that anyone was bad in You Shoot Videos. Right. Like, that was a great film. I'm not trying to talk smack by any means. Right. But the casting of you in that role that you had, that I don't remember the name of, so I feel bad for that, like, made that movie. Like, that was... I remember sitting there at that premiere and being like, that dude, like... that guy knows what's going on. And I didn't even know you were from Kansas City at that point because I think you were already in Jersey. Yeah. And so people were like, oh, yeah, they flew him in, dude. I was like, oh, this is like a big-time guy, like, doing his thing. Not that you aren't. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to shoot this project with, like, this actor that I just saw that, like, killed it. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, let's go. And then, obviously, we shot You Shoot Videos and met that day. And that project was great. And then you were in Sapiens. Yes. That we did. And then... yeah, You Shoot Videos was the first thing I did. And kind of like Morgan, funny thing, I was supposed to be in the Bel Air trailer. You know, he did the trailer here before he went and did that. And I ended up I told him, like, I'm working because I was working at a restaurant. And he was like, cool, I want you to play jazz in this trailer. And I'm like, all right, cool, I got you. And then he hit me up like a week before, the week of or something, and was like, all right, we filming. Are you free? And I'm like, man, I'm working a double at the restaurant. You know, because people had hit me up all the time to do film stuff. And a lot of times when people had hit me up in Kansas City, I'd show up, I'd do a shoot for somebody, and then I'd never see it. They never release it. So, you know, I'm like, oh, somebody else hit me up to do a film. And I didn't know Morgan that well at the time. Right. I had met him before, of course. I met Johnny before. I met a lot of the people that I worked with I had met before doing commercials because I had a commercial agent here, and they were the crew who were working every commercial. Yeah, that's super clicky. It's the same people that went through all of them. It's still the same now, but back then, even more so. Yeah, every commercial set I got on, it was like, oh, it's the same dudes. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, so, like, I had knew them from that. So I ended up telling them, like, nah, I can't do it. And then, I went back to school. I was at Rutgers at the time in school, and I went back to school after that, you know, because I always came back for the summer. So I went back, and... we were in rehearsals for a play that we were about to do, and somebody was like, yo, you seen the new Bel Air trailer? And, like, brought it to me. Somebody who knows nothing about Kansas City or anything, and then showed it to me on their phone. It was like Huffington Post or some shit. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And it was everywhere. Yeah, you saw that view count. It went super viral, super crazy. And I was like, I went to work at a restaurant and worked a double and made no money. I got tipped horribly that day. I really did. Like, no, it was dead. Like, no one's coming through. And then somebody else is getting their face seen 100 million times. 100 million times, man. Yeah. So after that, you know, me and Morgan built a relationship, and he was like, bro, I'm gonna get you in for something. Like, we'll make it happen. And then that next summer, I came back to Kansas City, and he was doing You Shoot Videos, and he tapped me in to play Tez. Yeah. That was the first time I did anything film. I did a lot of commercial work. So I'd been on camera before, but that was my first time, like, being in a film that actually got released. yeah, I've done a bunch of films, but because the commercial world and, like, the narrative world are completely different. So, like, different. The approach of everything, really, but acting specifically. It was because I don't remember where I was when the Bel Air trailer came out, but it came out, and like I had no idea that it was Morgan. I still have never met Morgan in my life, but I didn't know there was someone in Kansas City that had made it. And so I, go and I watch the show. I'm like, holy shit! And I see Cooper Films at the end, so I look up Cooper Films, and I was like, this dude's in Kansas City. What the fuck? And then I applied for a job not long after that, and they were like, oh, you're in Kansas City. Do you know Morgan Cooper? And I'm like, no. And like, oh, we love the Bel Air trailer. And then somehow, like, him making that trailer, like, legitimized Kansas City. So, like, this dude that I've never worked with in my entire life, like, there's zero correlation or connection at all, somehow, like, gave me a leg up on a job out of town just because he made it and was from Kansas City and I was applying from Kansas City. So, I mean, that trailer, I mean, obviously it's on Peacock now. It's probably the biggest thing that's happened for a Kansas City person, and definitely in recent memory. Yeah. It might be of all time.
For sure.
So it kind of like legitimized everything, and then I don't know if that,
even for me, yeah, my career wouldn't be
the same thing.
Wouldn't be what it is without YouTube videos.
Because that also went not as viral as the Bel Air trailer, but like it also went. I mean, it won a Tribeca.
Yeah,
didn't it?
Tribeca.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it just legitimizes everything, and you saw a direct correlation from that film to the next step.
Oh, 100%, man. Me doing YouTube videos changed my life. I tell Morgan all the time, like, yo, I'm just trying to give you your flowers, man, because if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be where I am. I mean, I'd be where I am. It might have took me longer. I'd have had to find a different way. But for sure, the way I got here was through, working with Morgan. And it was one of the greatest experiences I've had on a set is working with that dude. Like,
I mean, the set looked fun. Like, just, like, your scenes and whatnot, like the choreography and what you guys had to do and whatnot. It wasn't like some people do short films and they're like, it's an interrogation scene. We're going to sit here and it's just me and you talking. We got two cameras and we got a wide. And it's just like, that's like not fun.
Yeah.
But like, what you guys did in the
energy was unmatched on that set, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, YouTube videos, it definitely changed the trajectory that I was, because I did a showcase. I did an acting showcase, which is the second time I had been on camera and like really seen myself. Because our showcase was, it was during COVID, so we had to do it all digital. Usually we are in a theater performing on the stage and these agents and managers come see it. But I think it low key worked to my benefit that we did it virtual, and we had a guy direct it, and we basically did our showcase as if it was like scenes, like short scenes out of films and stuff. So it was filmed at like film style, film TV style. So these agents and managers got to see what we would look like if we were on camera.
Yeah, it's like camera test type stuff. Because I mean, I sit in sometimes on like the camera tests and casting and whatnot, and I personally like it. Sometimes they just set up a camera on a backdrop and it's a wide shot and they just film, you could have done on your phone type deal. But then sometimes this is the actual scene and it's not necessarily lit, but like the angles look right and it just, you can see what the person's going to look like. Cause I mean, hell, you've done these, I've done them that they look great beforehand or their headshot looks great. And like on paper, they're fantastic. And they get there and they're like, and it's like, oh, we're not the person that we were supposed to cast on this kind of thing. So,
but you got to roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I feel that so hard.
Yeah. I mean, COVID did that to a lot of people. Like it provided opportunities in weird places. I don't know if you watched the episode, but Jamie Morrow, she's on the board of the IFC. She had a very similar thing that over COVID, she found her niche and she said she found herself and all this kind of stuff. And like, it exploded and it took off. So, I mean, you getting into film over COVID, like, and now, I mean, you're on Power, which is huge. I mean, it's on Stars, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a network TV show that you are a recurring character on. Like, a lot of people in Kansas City have popped off and they've done like, oh, I've been on Chicago Fire for an episode, or hey, I was the dead body in CSI, whatever. But like to be a recurring character, like that's massive. That's
I'm all
like,
up and through that thing.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
I think I did 8 or 9 episodes out of 10. Yeah, man. So
how is it? So you're the character for however long, and then you take a break and do whatever else, and then you come back and you're that character again. How is that? Like that, just getting in and out of character so much.
Oh man, it's not as difficult as one would think, depending on the character though too. It is like you definitely have to reacclimate yourself though, and not even just to the character, but to the surroundings, to the, like, those sets are crazy, man. Like I tell you, when I first got to Power, man, I had so much like what do they call it? What is the term for it?
Fear, anxiety,
yes.
Anticipation.
Oh, all of that. But imposter syndrome.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. So man, I get to I'm like, yo, what am I doing here? How did I get here? who thought it was a good idea to cast me? Why am I like all these thoughts, man, of like I shouldn't be here, you know? And then Mary J. Blige walks by, and I'm like,
Like, do I say hi? Do I not say hi?
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
what do I?
you know?
What do I do with my hands? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, man. So I went through that for like, probably the first few episodes that we filmed. I still had that going on, for probably the first 3 or 4. I'm still very nervous and very. I feel like, and it probably even. So I don't even want to watch it when it comes out. But you probably can tell I was so tight. And then by the, we get to episode 4 or 5. At that time I'm rolling.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing now. I'm more comfortable. I know the crew now. I know the other actors now. So now I'm rolling with the show, and I'm like, wish I had this same energy when I first started.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of like, when you go back, you gotta you just kind of you gotta readjust, and you gotta be like, all right, I'm back here now. I'm back in this world, and I always like to set myself in that world. Is that something on my
Pull the fuzzies out of your eyes in the new world that we're in.
Yeah. I put myself in that world. Like when I'm the character, while I'm in those scenes, I live in that world. I try to, at least, as much as I can. And it's just about like being like, all right, now I'm back to being in this world, which sometimes is very cool. Sometimes is very like,
yeah. I mean, I admittingly haven't seen the show, like any episodes at all. Is it a is it a set? Like, are you in the same? Like, is it a soundstage show? Is it like an on location show? Like,
it's a mixture.
Okay,
it's a mixture of both. We film most of our stuff in Brooklyn on stage, and then there's so many things that are on location during the episodes and stuff. A lot of those outside shots that are in the episodes, and they'll go somewhere in, I don't know, all around New York, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not a sitcom, but I didn't know if it was like the same vibe that like you leave the show and then you come back, but you get to see a familiar set, so it's kind of like, oh, my surroundings are the same, so like you can kind of get into it better.
Yeah. Especially my character, like a lot of the things I was doing, without me spoiling, a lot of things I were doing was in the same setting. So even going back, it's in that same setting. Like I didn't do a lot of the other location episodes. I think out of all the episodes I filmed were pretty much on the stages, except for the first one I ever filmed was on location somewhere else.
Yeah.
But besides that, everything was on the stages because that was my character's domain.
Right. Yeah. This is my place. Not necessarily for this show. I mean, definitely don't spoil anything. But if you had to choose, would you rather shoot on location or would you rather shoot in the studio? Like, what's your favorite of the two?
I don't know, honestly. I do love being in the studio, only because it feels like it kind of starts to feel like home. You're like, I know this place really well. First couple of days, I was like, first couple of weeks, I was lost every time I got in there because it's huge. And I'm walking, and they film like every show. A lot of shows filming in New York, they all film on those same stages.
Yeah, the lots are confusing. Yeah. Hey, we're supposed to be in 17. Well, hey, bro, this is 18. Get out of here.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
And then once I kind of figure my way around, like it started to feel like home. I'm like, okay, I know where I'm at here at least. And then I know when I go to set, this feels like my space. Especially if a character like mine who filmed in a lot of the same locations, it starts to really feel you have some ownership towards it. You're like, yo, that's my chair. I sit in that chair, and if you see somebody else sit there, you're like, somebody's sitting in my chair.
Hey, Kevin, get out of my chair. What are you doing?
you go tell somebody, like, hey, there's somebody in my chair. Can you tell them to hop out?
It's like the ultimate diva thing to do. Can someone get me a PA, please? I need a water and this guy to get the fuck out. Okay.
Yo. Nah, but so I love filming on the stages in the studio for that reason. But I also just love being outside.
Yeah.
I love when it's a sunny day and you get to see some actual sun and not some lights outside a window in the stages.
Oh, look, the M18's on. Great. Oh, the sun must be rising.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice. And, you also see, it's always cool to see the people who are watching. Every time you film in New York on location doing anything, there are a bunch of people gathered around just like,
what are we filming? What are we doing?
What's going on? What is this? What show is this? What? I was filming a commercial for this company called Bullish Crypto. I don't know if it's crypto. It's some kind of
some financing that's probably fake.
Yeah. Don't hate me. Bullish. Sorry. But I don't know exactly what the company actually is, but it has something to do with like trading or crypto or something like that.
We'll Google it later. It's all good. It's all good.
But it was this huge commercial. And it was the biggest set I had been on. Because even when I did a lot of Sprint stuff here, but like I went and did this commercial for this company that I'd never heard of, and it was ridiculous, even bigger than Power, you know, like it was ridiculous. And we filmed on all the locations were like on location, and it was crazy. There were helicopters, there were horses, there were fog. It was like all kind of stuff happening. There was like outside where all these like cabinets and desks are on this whole city block, and they got like fans blowing that, and it's like papers flying everywhere. And then there's a scene where I'm driving this old school, I have a picture of it in my phone when I tell you it's so beautiful. It's a Mustang, old school Mustang, black and white with the black with the white racing stripes. It's a tongue twister. White racing stripes. Down the middle, like, man. And I'm driving that through New York City. At one point in time, I'm like burning rubber for the commercial, like all this wild stuff. I'm like, so like that for sure. I want to be outside. I want to do stuff like that. You want
to do the cool shit, go crazy.
That commercial also has never come out. It's one of those things, yeah.
Well,
I filmed it like
crypto.
over a year ago.
It probably was crypto, and because crypto crashed, and basically it's not non-existent, but it kind of disappeared. I bet you that company might not exist. Yeah. Or they went broke making that commercial because they pulled out all the stops.
Because that was also some of the nicest money I've got.
Oh yeah,
I'm doing a commercial, and I stand to make a lot more if they ever put it out. So bullish, if you are watching this, put that commercial out.
Yeah, right now. Right now. And I'll take a percentage because we're talking about it. You know, it's kind of wild that, like, because some of the jobs I've done that has paid me the most are companies that come out of fucking nowhere. Like, we had this one a couple of weeks ago, and we haven't actually done the shoot yet, but, like, it's all pre-prototype stuff. Never heard of it. It's a company. No one will ever see the video. It's a B2B video. So it's like, you know, just to get that company to send to other companies or whatever. And it's like, you want to pay me how much money for this, and no one's gonna see this? Like, because I mean, I've done like Chipotle commercials and Home Depot. Like, I've done some very big name stuff, and you know, they saw my rates because I just copied and pasted, and then they go, "Hey, let's we got this budgeted," and I'm like, "You're voluntarily telling me to put more money on my invoice? Okay." So I don't give a shit if the commercial happens or doesn't happen. Or it's not a commercial, but like the video happens or doesn't happen. As long as you check clears, like that shit whenever you want to. I don't care. No, it's nuts how. The fucking marketing money, man. Like, commercials, like when I first started getting into everything, people were like, oh yeah, like you do commercials for the money and then you do everything else for fun, and I just thought that was like more of a joke than anything. And then you see the two numbers next to each other and you're like, well shit, we should do this, because I want to make narrative films. Like, that's what I want to do at the end of the day, and there is a lot of money in that, don't get me wrong, but then you like look at a commercial rate and you're like, well shit, like it's kind of getting hard to like say no to this so I can go do this. Luckily you can kind of move some stuff around and make it all work, but it's wild.
Yeah, man, them commercials they for sure will pay.
Yeah, well, and residuals, I didn't know what residuals were for the longest time, and then I met a guy who had done a Sprint thing. He's like, yeah, I made $600 for my day to do whatever, and then he was like, yeah, but then I made $100 this month, and then like they sent me another $800 this month, and I was just like, wait, how long ago was that commercial? It was like 4 or 5 years in the past. And I'm like, holy fuck. Yep. Like, that's it's crazy.
That's I do a lot of voiceover work, and it is also nice for that reason. You know, whenever if they decide to start airing your voice again for any reason, I got money that just comes out of nowhere. And when I first got out of school, man, my voiceover career was booming. Like, that's how I made most of my money.
Shit.
Yeah, when I first graduated, like I did for so many companies. Like, I was just booking everyone, and to the point where my agent even told me, he was like, yo, this never happens. It's like nobody ever books like this much, like consecutive, like right after each other. I just kept booking. Right after I signed to my agent, they were like, yo, this is wild.
They're like, thank you for bringing this money to us.
And it's crazy because like now I haven't booked a voiceover in forever. But when I first, also a lot of them I can't book anymore because I'm SAG now. So once you become SAG, you get cut out of a lot of things that you could do before.
But it's a good gain.
It's a good gain, for sure.
It unlocks other stuff.
For sure. But yeah, I was booking them like crazy, and that money was really nice. It was because like I would get paid, and then as long as they run a campaign, I'm every other week or whatever, I'm getting money deposited into my bank account, you know? So I was like, yo, voiceover is where it's at.
Well, shit, I might start doing that. Yeah. My voice isn't good, but I'm going to.
And voiceover is like, man, even for like the freelance, maybe that's what you call it. I don't know what you would call it. Freelance voiceover, like, because there's so many like websites that you can get on and like just apply to do voiceovers. Yeah. It was a dude here who actually put me up on it. He was like, yeah, bro, he gave me a whole list of websites. He's like, yeah, I just get on there and like I'll send stuff in, and like, yeah, they just like pick me up because those non-union jobs pay a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
They pay a lot of money. Like I remember I was looking at a Nike job, and it was like $20,000 for the voiceover for one studio session. Yeah, and it was non-union.
Sure.
Yeah, it's non-union.
Sure, I'll do that.
It's like, yeah, to go in a studio, and I did most of my recording at home.
Yeah.
You know, I got my home
So
studio.
if you have the equipment.
Yeah, you get on, what is it called? Source Connect,
Okay.
which is like this, it's actually really cool software, but it's like you can get on, like a studio engineer can get on with me, and they'll be on the other end recording me.
Oh, dope.
Like virtually they can be all the way across the country, and we can have a studio session together, and they can run it and record me through the studio session, as long as I have my mic and all my stuff set up and through my computer and have all, my installation and stuff.
Right.
They can do a whole session with files and with like everything.
Jeez.
It's wild. Yeah. So that's how I was doing all my voiceovers through Source Connect.
Oh, shit, that's not as cool as my story was going to be, because I use every now and then I need voiceovers for stuff, and I use a website called Voices123. And same kind of thing where there's a list of people, and you can go through and listen to samples. You can just pick one, or you can put a job posting up that's like, hey, I need this. This is what it is. Send me a quote. And it's convenient as hell, because I did these sports card commercials, and I needed like announcer stuff. You were in those.
Yeah, I was in it. Yeah.
Shit, I forgot about that. You were in that. And I needed a voiceover for all of that, and so I just put, hey, I need someone that sounds like like a game announcer, and they submitted whatever with their rates, and they're not $20,000, but like, it's everything from, some people were quoting me like $50. They were not that good, and then I ended up going with a guy that was like $350. But it was the same thing where I hit accept, and I had the files like within an hour. And then I'm sure he literally just sat there and waited for the stuff to come through, and then just churned it out and whatnot. And then I think with that money, you were allowed one, like, hey, can you say this a little bit differently? But more times than not, they're giving you like 5 or 6 iterations of it in the get-go. So like, you have one that you can pick.
Right.
And I've used it on a couple other projects too, but like, it was convenient as shit. To be able to do it. And again, some people just have that voice, and they can make their voice sound like so many different things. Like, I know the big thing right now, the Rick and Morty guy got fired for whatever reason. I can't remember why. I'm sure he did something stupid. But like, they're like, oh, what are we going to do? It's like, do you know how many people can do the Rick and Morty voice? Like, it's going to be open season for somebody's going to come in and get it. So I don't know if you want to, take that up and try to figure those out.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Oh, yeah, it would suck.
Like, if somebody else comes in and does I'd hate to be that guy. It's like watching somebody else be Rick now, be Morty now, that would suck.
It would suck, but you know what? He got his money, and he did something that stopped making to be Rick and Morty. So, like, at the end of the day, I don't feel that bad for him. Yeah. I'll have to look up what he did. I'm sure it's something
egregious for him to get fired.
Some stupid that we probably shouldn't even, like, bring to light, because it doesn't deserve our time to talk about. Last thing I kind of want to talk about is, so you do the acting, all the things.
I wanted to ask you, though. Can I ask you a question?
Oh, shit. I'm scared now. Yeah, of course you can.
Now I wanted to, because you said like you want to do narrative film and stuff, so I was like really curious on like what's end game for you, or like what's perfect scenario for you as a creator, as a filmmaker.
I hate these questions.
Yeah.
So
I know it's super general, but like
So it goes 2 ways. First way is like, if I follow like what the industry says I'm supposed to do. End result, I would love to be working on. I love television more than like movies, so I want to be a DP of episodic content, whatever that is. Genre doesn't matter. I like so many different things that like that's kind of irrelevant to me. Like the show Supernatural. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
I would love to be the DP on that show. That's like, it's like 16 seasons, and like you just like love it, and then it gets to the point where it's just so ridiculous that you just try some crazy ass shit, and then like whatever. But then when that's not filming, doing like doc work. So like I don't want to do just narrative for the rest of my life. Like in a perfect world, I'm 6 months on something narrative, and then I go do a doc for 3 months, and then I got 3 months to like kind of do whatever. Type thing. Cause like I love telling stories. That's my end result of what I want to do through imagery. I mean, I've tried to direct and write, and it doesn't go that great. So I try to do it through the imagery and whatnot. And I don't want to do just narrative, because that's telling other people's stories, right? I want to. Well, I'm always telling other people's stories, but it's like it's telling a fake story.
Right.
I want to tell real stories too. But so like just the back and forth between the two of those is what it is. If you want to go like bust the industry, like I want to set my own path type deal, is I want to sell my soul, and I want to make a dumb amount of money, right? That I can kind of like not worry about money for the rest of my life. Yeah. And then from there, do nothing but finance my own stuff.
Yeah, well, because I think that's what I want to know. That's when it gets interesting, right? What would you do if you didn't have to worry about money?
Oh, I would finance my stuff 100%. There's so many documentaries. I have concepts for scripts. I can't write them down because I just can't get it on paper. It just doesn't work. I have so many things in my head that I want to put out there that I want to do all of them. Like if I'll I'm worth 100 mil for whatever reason now, you know, be like, okay, like here's $1 million, we're going to make this one, or 10 million bucks, we're going to make this one. Yeah. Hey, we're going to go do this. Hey, we're going to go do this. And then I'd love to also be able to do that for other people, because there's so many people that have stories and they have things they want to do. And I would love to be able to be like, oh, you want to go shoot a feature for 300,000? Like, let's go. Like, I don't have to be a part of it. Like, I'll just give you the money and then I will consult if you need me to, you know. So I'm not in the industry for money. I mean, obviously money's nice and it's fun, but I'm not necessarily sitting here trying to become, you know, I have to be working all the time because I need money and I want money and I want to build an empire. It's like, no, man, I want to tell cool stories. I want to do some cool shit. And then the outside of work life is very important to me. So being able to just like those 3 months that I'm not working, like just to go do something really fucking cool, like, or do something cool in the middle of all of it, like that would be dope as hell. Yeah. So we'll see how the cards fall and how it all goes. But yeah, end result, man, is the narrative and the docs is where I'm at. I mean, I shoot a lot of reality now. I shoot a lot of commercial now. Okay. I'm shooting more narrative. It's obviously not the majority of anything that I do. But you know, I want to kind of switch that a little bit, get into more narrative. I already do a bunch of doc stuff, so like that, you know, is kind of translating. But I want to be able to tell my doc stuff because I've put money into a couple of doc projects, and I'm learning how hard it is to sell things. Even when you think that you have it and people tell you that you have it and send you contracts, how quickly it can go away. So it's just one of those that like you kind of have money to get your stuff bought, which is kind of backwards, that like, you know, you can't just sell a good product. You have to have money as well. Oh yeah. Which is, it baffles me. It's like, hey, here's a done project. Okay. But you're too poor for us to buy this. It's like, well, but if you buy it from me, I won't be poor anymore. And they just, and they just don't care. So it's wild, man. Yeah. So being able to kind of cheat the system a little bit, legitimize yourself with cash for whatever reason, that's the reason people want to do stuff, and then just saying, no, like now we're going to do it a different way because this is not how this shit should go. Exactly. Especially in today's day and age when there's so many different ways to get your stuff seen, that like there's so much opportunity for content. If you go on Netflix right now, I guarantee you I've seen everything on there, or the majority of everything on there. Yeah. So why are we not buying everything in the world? Yeah. Like, why is Netflix turning down my documentaries when, hey man, I got nothing to watch. Like, this is done. Yeah. Go put it up. Make some money.
And a lot of that stuff on Netflix is not the best.
No, it sucks. The majority of it sucks.
So, yeah.
There's a new show on HBO Max, Velma.
Yeah.
That people hate.
I like it.
I fucking love it.
I'm not gonna lie, I like it.
I think it's fantastic. And I think it's fantastic because it's not what people want. People want it to be Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is fantastic. I love Scooby-Doo. Yeah. All of them. All the old cartoons. But, like, you can only tell the same thing the same way so many times. And there's people upset that Velma, you know, oh, they're sexualizing, blah, blah,
she's
blah.
Gay and people are mad that she's Indian.
Yeah. It's like, but she's not Indian in all the other stuff. It's like, okay, this is like its own thing. Like, it's not called Scooby-Doo, it's called Velma. Like, it can be whatever the fuck they want. Yep. So it's just, people are so scared to take risks. And that's why all the content's all the same. And so, like, because Velma got horrible Rotten Tomatoes reviews.
Oh, wow.
Horrible. Well, so like if you look at the algorithms and stuff, you know, when it came out, they were promoting it was front page everything. Now it's like, if you go recently added, it's the last thing on the list, probably because they got so much heat on it. You know, they shouldn't have gotten as much heat as they did, but they did for whatever reason.
Probably not season 2 then.
I would imagine not going to be, which sucks because it's a good show. Yeah, I like it. It's creative. It's different. You know, you know, seeing Shaggy not be Shaggy, like it's dope. It's cool. It's just different. But people are so scared to try something new, and that's what the whole buying thing that I'm running into is that the stuff I have isn't stuff that you're gonna see, you know, on this stuff. It's not they're hard hitting stories and they're different, but it's still mainstream in a way. My stuff's not mainstream. It's like, hey, like this is some weird, kind of obscure shit, but there's an interest in it. I can show you the numbers that proves there's an interest in it, but they don't care because it's a formula. And it does, and my stuff doesn't fit the formula. So being able to beat the formula, that's my long rant.
And then if you have the money, you can beat the formula.
Right, exactly.
Like you were saying, like that's the crazy part. It's like I need you to buy the stuff so I can do the stuff, but also if I had the money, I wouldn't need you to buy it. But I don't have the money, so I do need you to buy it.
Right, and if I had the money to put like Mark Wahlberg as the host, you'd buy this in 10 seconds, regardless 100%. Of what it is.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking to Ron, Corey, and he was telling me that he was like, he's like, the way to do it when you create a feature, even he's like, you know, short films are not really where it's at because you can't get as much funding for short films. Yeah, he's like, if you're doing a feature, he's like, You use the actor to get the money or use the money to get the actor. It's like either way, you're going to be a success. You go out and you get you a big name actor. All you need is one.
Yeah.
Get one big name actor.
It doesn't have to be that big of a name.
Yeah, and they don't even have to be that big of a name.
They just have to be somewhat recognizable because, like, I remember I did, there was a guy that did, I think it was a $500,000 feature. And I was just curious. I was asking questions about budgeting and stuff because for stuff that I had planned. And like 400 of the 500 went to one dude. And I was like, 80%? He goes, yeah, but that's what's going to make us the money. Like, it doesn't matter what the rest of the movie looks like. It doesn't matter who the rest of the actors are. As long as that one face is there, the investor makes their money back. And at the end of the day, that's all the investor gives a shit about. They don't care about awards. They don't care about top 10 on Netflix. They care about, oh, wait, did I make money or did I lose money? So it's like, that's why the pay gap is so crazy.
Yeah, I need to be that actor.
Yeah, really, though. I would love to see what, like, what did Robert Downey Jr. make on Avengers? Just like for like all the movies that he was in. How much do you think? I'm sure we could Google that.
Yeah.
Brittany, will you Google that for me while we're talking? Because that.
How much do you make in the Avengers?
Just in the whole franchise, I bet you it's well over 100 mil.
Oh, for sure.
Probably way more than that. Actually, now that I think about it.
For sure.
Because he's been in a shit ton of them. But no, it's wild. But yeah, no, I kind of want to. I want to talk about. I want to talk about our project that we have coming up.
Yes.
Because you are co-writing it, right?
Yes, I'm co-writing.
How much is it?
He made $80 million for the 2015 film Avengers: Age of Ultron.
That's just one film.
Oh my god, that wasn't the biggest one.
One film.
And then Endgame, which was his last venture, Marvel Studios, he made $75 million.
So yeah,
that's 150.
Just from those two lists alone. I mean, if you look at that, we'll just say 50 mil per movie, just to be super like undervalued.
Right.
He had to have been at least 8 of those. He made $500 million off of being Iron Man, being a comic book character. So that's what you need to do, man. You need to go be an Avenger or go get in this James Gunn DC universe. Take your pick of all the stuff he just released.
Yeah, I'm about to get in the gym so I can, apply for my superhero
up.
role. I say it all the time. I was like, if I had big muscles and if I was like a little bulkier of a guy. That's Amazon.
Oh, it's a Prime. I was like, what is that?
He made $435 million in his whole time playing in the Marvel superhero.
435 million.
Go hit the gym.
Yep.
Go hit the gym.
I'm in there tomorrow, actually.
Yeah. 2 a day starting at 5 a.m. But no, yeah, so we're working on our project, shooting in a couple months, and you're co-writing it, and you're also acting in it.
Yes.
So what made you want to, start producing your own stuff? Because you guys just started the company altogether. Yeah. So what led to that?
That was always a goal since I first got into TV and film. Like, we're talking about all this stuff, and, the main thing I want to do is create my own work. I want to tell my own stories, and we just talking about telling stories. I don't want to wait for other people to tell the stories that I want to tell, because then I feel like I might be waiting forever.
Yeah.
So I just took it upon myself to there's so many things I want to say. There's so many things I want to talk about. This is just the beginning, right? This is our first project together. That we are, and I'm always doing little smaller things. Like I did the we did the what was the name of that?
I'm just drawing blank too. Skin Deep.
Skin Deep.
Sorry, Suli.
Sorry. Yeah. We did Skin Deep, and I wrote all of that in a day.
I wouldn't have guessed, man. It was so deep. It was so good.
Yeah, the day before I wrote it, I had a different monologue before. And the day before, Suli was like, "Yeah, bro, you need to write a new monologue." And I was like, "Okay, all right,
shit, all right."
Yeah, because when I was originally gonna do it, I was gonna use a monologue it was like a theater monologue, and I told him I was like, "Yo, I'm just gonna film this monologue and do it as a little short film, but it was just gonna be this monologue." He's like, "Yo, I got this song that goes dope with that monologue."
Yeah.
And then the day before we was talking, I was like, "Yo, I don't know how this works." I'm like, "But we're gonna have to talk. This is a theater monologue, and I'm pretty sure there's copyright things happening."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you just need to write a new one then." I was like, "Well, we filming tomorrow." He's like, "Yeah, just write a new one." I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, you can do that, right? Yeah. It's no problem.
All right. So yeah, I wrote that the day before, but that's what I want to do. I want to tell stories like that. I want to bring out, kind of like you were saying, and I want to create a space where other people can tell stories, because that's what, even with our production company that we just started, a lot of the work that we doing, we doing this project, which I am co-writing with Robert. But I tell, anytime I run into anybody, any of my friends in the industry, I'm like, "Yo, if you got stuff that you writing, stuff that you want to get done, let's do it. I'll help you get it done." I I got a bunch of equipment at the house that I never use. We got 2 Blackmagic cameras that collect dust.
Yeah.
And a bunch of lights and sound. We need to get better sound equipment. But like just a bunch of stuff that I'm like, yo, we could be creating stuff all the time. But, you know, we always waiting on like, we got to wait for the bigger thing. And we got to, so and I'm like, and we also are like, we got to write the things and I'm like, man, I got so many stories, kind of like you were saying. They're like unfinished stories that I just don't know how to finish. But I can make somebody else's story look really good.
Dude, I feel that's so fucking hard. You know? And I'll tell you after when we get off because I don't want anybody to steal it because I would like to make it, but I have this like this thing about Kansas City and it like goes with the film incentive of like attracting people and shit here. I can't fucking write it, but I've had 4 people in the last couple of months hit me up and like, hey, I want to make my first short film. Can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
But I can't do that for myself. And it's so weird. I don't get it.
Yep. And that's me. I'm a dope writer. I started off as a writer, but it's just something about writing a whole script.
Yeah.
It'd be hard for me. But like you give me an idea that somebody else comes with. People are always asking me to help them write, which I'm better at doing than writing my own things.
Yeah.
People are like, yo, help me with the script, help me figure out which direction to go. And I'm like, oh, it would be cool if you did this. And I'll type up a whole thing. I'll type 10, 15 pages and be like, all right, what about this? Overnight. But as soon as it comes to creating my own stuff, I'm like, I got so many bullet points and ideas and all that I have not expanded on. But, you know, so that's what I want to do. I want to bring people together. I want to give people a chance who have those stories to be like, yo, let's tell your story. I love helping people tell their stories. Yeah. You know, and I mean, that's what got me into creating my own work. I feel like if I could make the money that I want to make, I would just tell my own stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd film my own stuff. If I had the money to do it, you know what I mean? I'd film all my own stuff all the time. I wouldn't care who's watching it. Yeah, I know there'd be an audience somewhere. There'd be somebody
just to get it out because like it's a creative release to like I have something on my head for whatever reason and like you make it. Yeah, it's off. Like we're good. And if those thoughts ever come back and you need to like re-release that, you just watch it again.
Right.
And like if someone watches it, cool. But if they don't, like, oh well.
And like you, I love telling stories, and I love telling stories that are, especially stories that might not be heard. You know, I love the whole concept of like being able to be a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah.
You know, the people who, like, I would love for, in a perfect world, somebody to watch one of my films and feel seen and feel heard and feel like they're not alone. And that's no matter what the topic is. You know, I like to do a lot of stuff about, like, you know, the black experience in America, but it could be being a pothead in America. You know, it don't matter what it is, but, you know, I'd love to just do a film. With any film I make, I hope that's what comes out of it, is that somebody is watching it and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not the only person who feels like that, or who is going through that, or whatever the case, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of the medium that we have, that, like, I don't know if you remember it. There's a movie called Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream. Yeah. That impacted me hard when I was in high school, because like I was going through some similar stuff that like was going through, and you know, mental things and whatnot. And like I remember that movie. There was a girl that was like, "Hey, you're gonna watch this movie." Sorry, Brittany, not to bring up other women. And like I watched it, and like it was a temporary, you know, relief, but like it did something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so like the power that, like, you know, 90 minutes in front of a computer screen or a TV or even a play, you know, like can affect you in certain ways. Like it's so powerful, and it irritates me that people use that power to make really dumb movies. Yeah. Like my big thing, and I might cut this out because I'll probably get a lot of heat for this, but like I hate military movies. I hate them. There's some stories within the military that like I don't hate, like I enjoy them. Mm-hmm. But like when you come to like your basic, like, we're in the military, we went to this foreign country, we're racist, but we're not going to talk about being racist, we killed a bunch of people and we saved America. I fucking hate those movies. Like Saving Private Ryan. People love that movie. I don't like it.
I feel that so hard. I might be one of the only people who agree with you. I just was having this conversation with talking to Lazarus, and I was like, yeah, military movies, bro. I mean, like, of course there are some diamonds in the, you know.
Right. There's always an outlier.
Yeah. But for the most part, I hate watching movies that are centered around the military. I'm like, this is not interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's glorification of a horrible thing in war.
War. I don't want to watch stuff about war.
I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this. So, like, Top Gun, the new one, Top Gun Maverick, just came out. I saw the original Top Gun. Super unimpressed. Like, whatever. Like, Tom Cruise, with shades on, flying a plane. Cool. Like, again, I'm not a big military movie guy. And this isn't me disrespecting the military. Like, anyone that is in the military or was in the military, this is not me saying that I think you suck.
Right.
It's just I don't like the glorification of war, period. So this new movie comes out, and everyone's freaking out about it. I haven't seen it. Okay? Everyone's freaking out about it. It's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And I did a little digging on it because I remembered that the first Top Gun was funded by the Department of Defense. And I was like, I wonder, because it was a weird time that like this movie was coming back out again, just with all like the stuff going on in the world. And so I did a deep dive on it, and the Department of Defense also funded this one. Mm-hmm. And that's why, and the reason it was delayed so much is they kept saying COVID protocols, this, that, blah, blah, blah. It got delayed because the 4 branches of the military all had, are there 4 branches of the military? However many branches of the military, all had to agree on the representation of the military in the movie. So if the Army wanted something done a different way, but the Navy wanted it one way, they had to figure it out. So there were so many reshoots because they just, okay, what about this one? What about this one? Frame by frame, it had to be approved by the United States government for that movie to get released. That's propaganda. That in itself is propaganda.
100%.
Also in the contract that got leaked online and quickly got swept under the rug, but I do have screenshots of it coming from a government official, was that the big premieres of the movie, so like the New Yorks, the LAs, like the big events, had to have military recruitment officers at the door trying to recruit people to come join the military. That's number 2 propaganda. That's not a movie, guys. That's a commercial for the military. Like, people go watch that movie and they're like, I want to be flying those fighter jets. Do you know how many people fly those fighter jets in the military? I don't know the exact number, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
I would probably guess that it's somewhere close to the amount of people that play basketball but make it into the NBA.
Yeah.
It's very minimal of them. It's just, it blows my mind that people like, they want the American nationalism and they want to watch these movies so bad, and I just don't get it. I don't I don't care. But the movie came out when they had released the recruitment numbers, and the recruitment numbers to the military were at like a 50-something year low. So what do we do when we can't get people to join the military in a we weren't in a war by any means, but we were close to it, and we're still close to it. What do? Oh, let's call Tom Cruise up. And, we'll put 3 cameras on the bottom of a fighter jet and let him fly around or something like that, which is dope from a cinematography standpoint. But like,
for sure,
I'm sorry, man, but that ain't for me. That's not something I want to watch.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that's wild.
And movies, there's a lot of movies that are not necessarily for the military, but just in general, there's a lot of movies that are funded by, some subtle entities, and they're for a very specific purpose. And it's just like,
I need to figure out how to get on that.
Well, yeah.
Create me one of those movies the government can give me some money. It won't be a military movie.
No.
I can tell you that right now.
What's something the government wants to push right now? Pot's getting legalized across the country. Like, give me some money, we'll make a pot movie.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah. Another Dazed and Confused. He's so dope. Full circle back, like, I'm excited to be working on this project with you because it's a period piece.
Yes.
Which you have one of the biggest ranges of an actor I've ever seen.
Thank you.
And so for you to not only be writing, but I'll be acting in this, and something we have to go back to the 16th century. Like, I'm very excited.
18th century.
18th century, sorry. I'm very excited to see that, and I'm double excited because the majority of the people, even on the crew, are theater background. And that's not something that I've ever done. I've never worked with a cast that's all theater people.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited.
The only person I think that has more experience that is outside of the theater. I mean, our director does, but just very recently. He just started doing film. Like, everybody wants him to direct their films right now. It's crazy.
We were on the Zoom, and he's like, I got this and this and this. And I'm like, Kevin, you told me that you just started doing this. Like, no one was calling me when I first started doing this.
But that's because, like, if you've worked with him, a lot of these people, have worked with him in the theater. And if you've worked with Kevin, I mean, you met him. Yeah. You meet that guy and you're like, yeah, I'd have him direct my stuff.
Oh, hell yeah, I would. No, Kevin's so cool.
Yeah. But he's the only person I think outside of me that has done, I mean, and you, of course.
Right.
That's done film stuff like actual film stuff, not like, we're playing around.
Right.
I think Maxime has. Maxime has done some stuff in France and done some smaller projects and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to do that just to see how it all translates. And I know it'll translate well.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. Like, it's crazy writing writing a period piece. It came from a project we was doing in school. Cause like all the guys, also our whole film team is guys that we all went to acting school together.
Yeah.
So like we just, after we graduated, we graduated almost 2 years ago now. And we were like, all right, we've been together very close for the last 5 years, 6 years of our life. Like brothers, because we sleep together. We all are in the same houses. We are eating everything we do. We work together. Every play we was doing together. So we become real close. And real fast who your people are and who are not. Mm-hmm. When you got a group of people that are all together. So there are some people who, might not be our people like that. We love everybody, we love everybody. But yeah, we figured real fast, like, yo, let's start something. Let's do something.
Yeah. This is the group.
Yeah, this is the group. And I mean, except for Bill. Bill is my cousin.
Okay.
He's from Kansas City, and he moved up to the East Coast in March of last year. Thank God for him. He's also the only one of us that's not an actor.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill's just straight production guy.
He's just numbers and spreadsheets.
Yeah, he has a film degree, and he does a lot. He's done a lot of his own work, actually, creating his own work. In school, of course, being a film major and everything, and now he's like working for Paramount, and he's like doing a bunch of like production stuff that way. But I'm like, yo, you up here now? It's time for you to start getting behind the camera. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you in the place to be now.
Spread your wings and fly, man. That's the biggest thing with Kansas City is that, not that I regret starting my career here by any means, but I'm envious of people that get to start their career on a coast, regardless of which one it is, just because of opportunity. Like I've said this on record a million times that like. The best talent isn't any particular city, but the opportunity is out there. So like when these people whip out these reels and they've got all these different like A-list actors and stuff, that doesn't mean that they're better than you necessarily.
Yeah, not at all.
It just means that there's prettier people that they're putting in front
place
of the camera,
right?
You know what I mean? So because like if you took any project I've ever done in my entire life in Kansas City and you just add a LA actor, pick one. Well, guess what? I'm going to look fucking amazing too. Yeah. But like, it's an opportunity thing. So I am jealous of the opportunity that people had because I think it would have accelerated the earlier years of my career.
Yeah. And your reel is fire. That was one thing when we showed it to Kevin. He was like, oh yeah, he's like, yeah. Like, why are we looking at anybody else?
My favorite comment from Kevin was that he liked my reel because of the special effects, but there are zero special effects in the movie that we're doing. Like, he's like, yeah, man, when the fire comes out of his hands, I'm like, so like,
I love think he wants to put some kind of special effects somewhere.
I mean, I'm down for it. Like, he keeps talking about that thing with the poster, and I think that's part of it. I think he just wants to put a green screen picture up so someone has to put it in just to say that he did it.
Like,
which, hey, man, if you want to do it, let's go.
Yeah, but that's why I love him. Y'all are liking that, where y'all both are like, yeah, what if we try this?
Yeah, like, what the hell, right?
Let's try this, Yeah. And that's what I told him, like, because our whole team is super collaborative. None of us feel like we own anything. We feel like it's all of ours. You know, it's not like, oh, I wrote this, so it's this, or I'm directing it, so it's this, or it's like, nah, like it's really kind of no hierarchy with us. It's like we're all kind of, and Kevin, he's that type of director as well. He's like, yo, if anybody got ideas, throw them in, because we're all human. We all just living, and if you know something that I don't, or if you see something that I might not, like, say it. He's not the type of director that'll be like, I have a vision for this, and it's got to go exactly how I plan it out, which you've had more sessions with him about the film than any of us.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kevin's great. I mean, I don't get along with directors that are very like, this is what my vision is, get it done. Mm-hmm. I do it, but it comes with a price tag for me. Like, I will turn down those directors now, just with where I am in my career, that have that mindset, and I'm like, no, because I know myself, I'm going to say something, and it's not me being a dick. It's not me trying to cause problems. It's literally just because we're in a collaborative medium, and I'm like, well, what if we move the camera like 3 feet this way and we did it this way? Mm-hmm. And then, they always snap at you and things. So I can't work with people that have to have things a certain way. Like, no, this is what my vision was. This is what it's going to be. This is what I'm going to do. I just back off. I'm like, hey, respectfully, like, man, I'm good.
Man, I love figuring it out.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I do too.
That's one of my favorite things about like creating films is like you with a bunch of people who might not know. So we all have to figure it out. I low-key love that. I love that none of us are like super like skilled, very like let's do. I mean, we're all very skilled. Don't get me wrong. But
we don't have this masterpiece in our brain that we're like, this is exactly how to make the perfect film. This is how we're going to do it.
We have no idea. And there's Kevin, when he used to teach us, because he was our professor. He was our acting professor, and he used to always tell us like there's no opening date, there's no show, there's no Like we're not doing a performance.
Right.
It's always, the process is always ongoing. We're just doing work. We're working and we're at play.
Yep.
And we're going to keep doing that. And then one day there'll be people sitting in the audience. We're going to still be at play, but we don't have an opening night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I love that concept. I love that we can always be working. And like, you know, we can translate that to film now. When we doing film, like, is that we just in process, always in process.
That was, we had a Zoom meeting after one of the first ones that we did. And that was my favorite thing because we were talking about like shot lists and stuff. He asked me, he goes, when would you like to have a shot list completed? And I was like, well, I don't think we should ever have one completed. And he was like, oh, great. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to like get into an awkward thing the first time that we're talking, just the two of us. And I was like, sick. And like, it's a living, breathing animal. The whole project is, you know, like, you know, we could plan all we want to. Now, you've been on these sets. I've been on these sets. We plan out the ass. Hell, Skin Deep was like this.
Yeah.
We planned it to be one way, and then we showed up and we went,
flip the whole thing.
Okay, we're going to change it. That was partially because we lost the location. But at the same time, little stuff happens all the time. And you can either freak out or you can just go, okay, like, cool. We're going to make the best of whatever we got. And, like, let's just go. So, no, I'm very excited for the group that we have and the people. I'm excited to meet everyone in person because obviously Zoom has a little bit of a disconnect to an extent.
For sure.
So I'm excited to be able to be like, you know, hey, what's up, guys? Like, you know,
Yeah.
look, I do wear pants. It's not just on the Zoom thing where I'm in my pajamas.
They're gonna love it. I know everybody's gonna love you when you get there. It's gonna be, man. I'm like so excited for this project, and I hope it's like the start of us doing a bunch of cooler projects. Like Robert, man, that dude is a monster with the writing. He's writing a feature right now that's like takes place in a prison.
Yeah, he was telling me just very minimal about it and whatnot. And I love people that do that too. That there's something to be said about focusing on one thing and like hitting it hard, but like I also appreciate the people that can spread their mind out and do a lot of things, because I think when you do that, you open up your mind to bring things into the other projects and make them better and whatnot. So I think that his creative mind is firing right now.
Yes,
and
he's in a zone. He's in a zone right now. So so hopefully, you know, this is the beginning of us doing a lot of work, man, and we'll be flying you up all the time, being like, yo, we ready for the next one. I think we're gonna try to tap into features. Because for one, we want to get some of that feature money.
Yeah. For one, for two, for three, and for four, we try to get that feature money.
That feature money. So you know, we ain't trying to raise a bunch of money on a crowdfunding, which is, you know, a beast in itself.
I say the awkwardness of, hey guys, I'm asking again for money that you never saw the movie of the first time. And
exactly.
Like, you know. I did one crowdsourcing for I did a documentary about a friend of mine that passed away. He had a brain tumor, and we talked to all of his organ recipients, and did this like really heartfelt, you know, thing about like how Zach did pass away, but you know, here's what he opened up and the stories of these people and whatnot. And I asked, you know, we raised like, it was like $15,000 or whatever, and we did a screening, did the whole thing, festivals, yada yada yada. And then I had another idea for a film, and I was like making the Kickstarter, and I was like, I feel really fucking weird asking for money again. Because like I didn't make money off of that film. Like we tried to, didn't work, totally fine. And it was just like, oh man, like this is such an awkward thing to be like, hey grandma and all my distant relatives, like, can you spare $50?
Yeah.
So no, definitely going the way. And completing a feature is the easiest way to sell it, as easy as it could be. You know, people want completed projects now. They don't care about concepts. They don't care about, you know, this could be a great idea. They're like, okay, well, like, we want to air it tomorrow.
Show me. Yeah.
Show me what you got.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, because I was, you know, trying to sell scripts and stuff. Like, a lot of the scripts that I had written in the past, trying to sell them and sell them, the half-written ones that I have as concepts and ideas and lookbooks and all that stuff, right? And I'm like, that's not what the industry is anymore. You know, I've been finding, like, people kind of want to, like, the industry is kind of what happened to Morgan. He just filmed it. He was like, I got an idea. Yeah. I'm going to film it. And then once he filmed it, then the opportunities came. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, yo, I'm going to get it. Once I get an idea, I'm like, let's just do it. Let's work. It was a pilot. It was a whole series that I was working on. That it's probably one of the things that I'm going to film in this next year coming up. I'm like, yo, I was trying to sell this script. I was trying to get these people to buy into it and be like, yo, I got the script, this thing I want to do. Make sure you keep me as an actor in it. But, you know, do whatever you want with it other than that, you know. But, like, people don't want to see that. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to show them what it can look like. Because also, a lot of times people can't see your vision. They don't, on paper, you know. It might not look the way you envision it. So I'm like, let's just knock it out, man. Let's get it out there.
Yeah, just make it out in the world and see. And one thing I want people to take away, because we've talked about like rapid success a lot in all of this, and we've talked about stuff that's gone really well, whether it be Power, some stuff with me, the stuff with Morgan and his videos, is that we didn't talk about our failures. Morgan's obviously not here speaking for himself, but I know there are projects out there that, you know, he did not do what Bel Air did, obviously. So, like, you know, anyone young who's just getting into this, like, don't think that, like, because Petey decided to go to UMKC and then, you know, did a really good job on this monologue, and all of a sudden he's, you know, a big role on the network TV show. Like, don't think that it was that simple to get there.
It was not. It was so hard. I mean, but, you know, it was, I feel like that's the nature of the game, especially in this industry, man. This is one of the hardest industries to be in. It is a beast. And there are struggles every day. There are more struggles than not.
Gosh, yeah.
But, you know, the power is that we have the autonomy to keep creating, you know. Everything is not going to be roses and sweet. Everything, you know, you will make something that you'll get 3 views on. So what? Keep creating, you know.
It's 3 more than 0.
Yeah. You know.
You know?
Keep creating, keep making stuff, and, you know, if you do it because you love it, then good things will come from it.
Yeah. And there's going to be moments where you don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. I've had 2 instances in my 7-year career that I want to hang it up. I wanted to go sit in desk. I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And I powered through it, and you look back and you're like, why would you ever for a second want to not do this?
Yeah, see, I never get those moments of not wanting to do it, only because when I first started acting, I was around people who had that. And I was like, man, I'll never want to be like those people.
I never be like those losers.
You know, I was dating a girl, and she had been acting all her life. I didn't start acting. I was like 23 years old when I started acting, so I already... You know, I haven't been doing it. I mean, even now, like, I haven't been acting as long as a lot of my friends. But since she was a child and could speak, has been acting. And she was older than me. She's almost in her 30s at the time. And I remember, like, talking to her, and we're at school. We're going to school together. She's a grad student, like, grad acting student. And it's telling me that, like, she don't know if she want to do this. This might not be what she wanted to do. And I was like, but you're in school. You're in a graduate acting program. You're going, not only are you, like, I can understand if you was, like, kind of just doing it, but you're going to school for it, you paying money.
Yeah, this isn't an elective course that you randomly took for your business degree. Like, you've paid 6 years of tuition.
Yeah, I was like, what? And she was telling me, it's crazy to hear you talk about acting the way you do, because I don't have that same passion, and I've been doing it all my life. Yeah. She was like, it kind of just feels like a job to me. It feels like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I never want to get there. Ever want to be there. So, you know, every time I feel like I don't want to do this, that's when I go back to, like, you know, just creating stuff.
Yeah.
Like, creating my own stuff. I can always write something and it'll make me feel better I could film any little thing that'll make me feel better, even though it might be garbage, you know. But it'll make me feel like that's why I do this, because it's a release, you know. I might not be making money. There was a time where, you know, doing all these auditions and stuff, and I had a little bit of doubt, being like, not that I didn't want to do it, but being like, is this for me?
Right.
Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm not booking anything. I'm not, you know, you start getting real down on yourself and going, and I was like, you know what? And all that stuff usually comes from outside of you, the person. So, you know, once you look inside, view the person and figure out why you really doing it, then that's all the motivation you need to keep doing it. Or don't do it if you decide as the person it's not what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, make your own decision. I mean, there's a lot to be said about making whatever it is, whether it's for a paycheck, whether it's a passion project, whatever, doing it for yourself and letting other people watch it, as opposed to, I really hope that all these people like this, and then you just feel empty inside. And that's where I was. It was like, I didn't feel like, I just didn't have an identity. You know, it was just, I mean, there's other forces at play in 2 individuals specifically, but, you know, it's just one of those that, like, you don't feel like you're doing it for the right reasons anymore. And, you know, don't let other people, like, just go back to yourself. And that's how I got out of it. Is, you know, I did this documentary thing for myself, and then it rekindled everything, and then
felt good.
Bam, we're going to Jersey to make this short film. You know what I mean? Like, it's all a cycle.
Yeah, man.
It's all a process. It's a journey, right?
Yeah. And completing stuff feels good.
Oh, hell yeah.
When you get something done, no matter what it is, you feel good. And that's how I told when I was teaching the kids earlier today, the last thing that I left them with is, like, you know, if this is what y'all want to do as a as a profession, good luck, because it's hard. It is a hard profession, but, like, just keep creating, and don't create based on what other people. Don't create for other people. Basically, is what I told him. Like, create for yourself, and you'll always be fulfilled if you are creating for you and not for the, and I mean, of course there's a layer of,
you gotta get paid.
Yeah, you gotta get paid. And like I just did my whole spiel about the reason I love to do it is because the effect that I have on other people, and I want people to be able to identify. But like, I'm doing that still for me.
Yeah.
If nobody does identify with it, I do projects that at the end of the day I could be like, yeah, that was a dope one though. Or even if it's not a dope project, I'm like, I had a lot of fun on that shoot. Or whatever it is,
Yeah, whatever the project is. All right, we're running out of time.
Yes.
We got really philosophical there at the end. But no, man, I appreciate you coming out. It was great seeing you.
Yes, of course.
I'm glad to have you in Kansas City, and I will see you in Jersey soon.
Yes.
Well, I'll see you on a Zoom call before that. But,
yes, for sure.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Check out PD on Power on Stars, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
Cut.